how they work.
Yeah, because like you said, they're hidden.
Yeah, and there's Jews of different diaspora that are all over the world. There's Jews that are in Ethiopia. There's Sephardic Jews, which are also Palestinians. So they're Jewish. Those are Jewish people as well. Unfortunately, there's been this historical battle between Jews and Palestinians, but they're cousins, which makes the whole fight silly at the end of the day. And to be honest, they look at the land as sacred. I look at it as it's just grass. You know, it's like, even where we live here in New Zealand, it's grass. Africa is just grass, and Africa feeds the world. Africa feeds the world.
I was going to say,
if anybody wants to fight over a country, we should be fighting over Africa.
Well, we don't even need it because people have already taken over it.
Yeah, so. I mean, but it's still so abundantly rich in resources that France won't leave, Belgium won't back out, Britain won't back out. We've got all these countries inside of our country. I mean, imagine in Europe, if Europe, for example, was colonized by Africa, and everyone's speaking Swahili in one place, and then they're speaking Zimbabwean in another place, and then another place they're speaking Zulu, you know? So that's what it's like for us when we hear Africans speaking French, we hear Africans speaking Portuguese in Tanzania, you know? It's
it depends what country took you over. I think where I'm originally from, it was started off with French. So our languages was French and Rwandan. Yeah, so he's of Rwandan descent. And so the French came there and just exploited those people. So you would understand how it feels for us. And thankfully, we even still have a voice to even speak about it. Like people in South America that are, indigenous people, they've been killed off so much to the point they can't complain about the Spaniards and what they did there. They're sort of like doing the best that they can to try to regroup and salvage what they have. If they're living in the mountains or something like in Brazil, for example, there's certain native people that are still fighting for their rights, but they got pushed into the mountains, Again, it's just one of those things like it's divide and conquer, really. So So see, one of the oldest tricks,
and that's what African Americans see. That's what's going on, and that's what's going on a global scale right now with media, film, TV, and so the way it's being viewed for some people is that the world is being put in a very divisive space where everyone's being divided by gender, race. Political parties, vaccinated, unvaccinated. And all this is doing is creating businesses for people that are already in power that can exploit these situations, whether that's a film production company, whether that's a movie where they want to gender swap, race swap things. It keeps the general public fighting, and then it helps their political brothers to pass the policies that they want to pass.
Why would they give us the detonator to our own bomb?
Tonight, you're all going to be a part of a social experiment.
Through the magic of diesel fuel and ammonium nitrate,
I'm ready right now to blow you all sky high.
Liberty, come in, over. It's dead.
Anyone attempts to get off their boat, you all die.
I'm zeroing in.
Each of you has a remote. Blow up the other boat. At midnight, I blow you all up. If, however, one of you presses the button, I'll let that boat live. So, who's it gonna be? Harvey Dent's most wanted scumbag collection, or the sweet and innocent civilians? You choose. Oh, and you might want to decide quickly because the people on the other boat may not be quite so noble.
Stay back.
Well, now, who are you to decide? We ought to talk this over at least.
We don't all have to die. Those men had their chance.
We are not going to talk about this.
Why aren't we talking about it?
They're talking over the same exact thing on the other boat.
Let's put it to a vote.
No one wants to get their hands dirty. Fine. I'll do it. Those men on that boat, they made their choices. They chose to murder and steal. It doesn't make any sense for us to have to die too.
Give it to me, and I'll do what you should have did 10 minutes ago.
So everyone's working in cahoots with each other. And so Kanye feels like that. He feels like as artists and arts, we're already being exploited on this level. He's like, I'm not going to expose what's going on a political level. Other people can articulate that.
But can you at least let us own some shit?
But can you at least, it's if you think something's going to go on forever, I'm sorry to tell you, change is the only thing guaranteed in life. Things will change, but you cannot keep trying to hide in control and puppeteering things from behind the scenes and then try to hide in language. Language is abused in a massive way today, whether that's someone calling you a misogynist
or racist
for having a preference that, your lady maybe takes care of her health and she's not overweight, or that, you don't want a lady that wants to use you for food, be a foodie. So these words are abused where they use misogyny as a blanket statement all across the board just to shut down any argument. Well, men, we don't call women misandrous for wanting us to self-improve, for us to have a good finances, good credit, good shape, physical shape, maybe even be 6 foot tall like me and Benda, So we don't call that misandry, and we don't use it as a blanket statement across the board. And or even someone saying that someone is fat shaming because, they might be a bit overweight and it's affecting their health. No, we're just telling you truth. So when you call somebody phobic for not wanting to date someone trans or sleep with someone trans, or you call someone anti-Semitic because they're asking you to do better business, no one is above self-improving. And that's the reality of it. It doesn't matter what culture, what race, what religion you are. Everyone has to self-improve, So if you think something's going to stay in one place, change is inevitable. And it is time for everyone to do better and be more accountable. And I think that's the scary part of why they're trying to use disinformation right now in traditional media, is because it's holding people accountable for the things that they can improve on. And instead of improving on their communications and having dialogue and questions that people can ask each other, because that's how societies grow. Societies grow from exchanging of dialogue and personal development.
BLM took a black person, showed his death on camera because, okay, there are examples of us being killed on camera. But if it was spread on camera, it was done on purpose by the media, because 14, 20 kids get killed in Chicago every week, and it's not spread that much. They, like you said, singled out a person, directed everything on that person, right, as the martyr, and raised the people that hadn't had any. We didn't have our 40 acres and a mule. We didn't have, like a lot of things, right? Like that black people have not ever been given. So once we're given just a little bit, like your life matters, right? Then we literally like, oh, okay, now we're being heard. The idea of anti-Semitism and the closeness of the Holocaust is used by certain individuals in media to not take accountability for the bad things that are happening.
You give me your perspective on what you learned, I give you my perspective, and then we can meet in the middle and go, wow, okay, maybe we can draw a parallel in the theory there, and now this can help other people along the lines. They're trying to stop social discourse to get back to controlling the narrative. Now that comes from traditional media. Kanye just exposed who majorly controls traditional media. That's frightening because that's showing there's a huge incentive to suppress people from being able to actually come together, which feels very divisive. And that's a bad way to try to stay in some authority or some sort of power, you know, and I think that's why there's a deep fear with YouTubers.
Well, and also like him coming out and hitting people with that is he proved people right.
Yeah.
He's been banned on everything. So we all know, if you don't know.
You literally showed your hand.
Yeah,
You showed your hand. You're going, no, we don't control everything. And then you're going, oh no, cancel all his deals. Cancel all his deals. Yeah. His tours, cut that off. And then all these executives are coming out from different communities, whether that's film and TV, acting, movies, music, and they're all going, cancel him. And we can see the surnames. We see Steinberg, see Weinstein, see Epstein. We see all these different names coming out, you know, that of Jewish origin, and then you're saying you don't control anything.
Clip, man, let's go.
Hopefully this is my last statement on Kanye and anti-Semitism, but I feel like it won't be. But this is what I wrote. Jews are 2.4% of the population, but 35% of the Forbes 400. African Americans are 13.6% of the population, but only 0.5% of the Forbes 400. Instead of listening to the wealthiest and most outspoken black man in the media about the issues he has with potentially racist and stultifying Jews in the industry, which is what going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people translates to in Ebonics, he is completely excoriated. 92% of U.S. Jews identify as white. Israel is known to suffer from intense racial discrimination against its Arab, Mizrahi, and Ethiopian communities. To destroy the life of a black man who says he's going to speak up about the oppression African Americans face from white capitalist owners is insanely racist and problematic. I wish Abraham Joshua Heschel was alive today to deal with this. What I think he would do is meet with Kanye and allow him to air his grievances and acknowledge the problematic power imbalance between Jews and African Americans in media and American society. He would encourage Jews and their allies to take what Kanye says to heart and to see this as a renewed call to anti-racism in all of our society, to support African Americans in their quest to have a seat at the table, and for Jewish people to help African Americans get there. Remember, Jewish Americans have an average net worth of $150,890, and African Americans have an average net worth of $24,000. Beating on Kanye for talking about that only reveals your racism. Have a nice day.
100%.
You're literally showing your hand, and you're doing it in real time, thinking people can't see you. Maybe they couldn't 10 years ago, but we can today.
Oh, because
things change.
Everything on social media, it pops up. 1 minute he's banned on Instagram, then he gets banned off this, and then he's banned on Twitter. Now he's back on, which I'm super excited about.
Shouts to Elon Musk. Shouts to Elon.
The man's a top G.
We applaud you, bro. Top G, legend.
And he brought back Trump.
We need these voices.
So like,
I want to know if someone's racist. If they are racist, I want to know.
I want to know. I don't mind.
I don't like covert racist. Because then that sucks.
That's dangerous.
Someone, sorry, we're not hiring right now, and then they wait till you walk out the door. Yeah, we don't like that.
I would rather just someone be like, we don't hire people with your skin color. I'd be like, cool, thanks for telling me. I don't want to work here. Yeah. So I think also like, and then he gets kicked out of a bank that is predominantly Jewish owned.
Yeah.
So
and they finance whose money were they managing? Jeffrey Epstein's.
So you
manage Jeffrey Epstein's money, but Kanye.
But you can't kick out.
Kanye's asking for better business, and you cancel him because he just says the name of the community.
Because he's anti-Semitic, and because Jeffrey Epstein wasn't, it's okay. I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah. Good to know where I can draw the line. I can go kidnap a bunch of children, do some dodgy shit. Yeah. But if I say anything like remotely that you may not like, that's how I get kicked out of your bank. And it's not the only bank. There's lots of banks, whether it's Goldman and Sachs or what was JP and Morgan. There's many banks. So
even the name Goldman is Jewish.
Yeah. If you don't know it, 100%.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you used to be able to hide in plain sight, but we're articulate now, and I think that's one of the biggest fears about the internet in general. The reason why they're trying to censor the internet is because we have too much information at this point.
There's way too much info.
I mean, the prime minister here, the prime minister in Canada, they came together and was like, we have an agreement with Twitter that we're going to manage disinformation, and we're going to set up an algorithm that we can not only use on Twitter, but we're going to use it on every social media platform.
Control everyone. And of course, New Zealand was a test bed for this. I mean, New Zealand and Australia. A lot of people, similarities here, but we see a lot of Australian viewers too. And there's a lot of similarities, of course. But these two were like petri dish test beds for COVID lockdowns and government control. And
yes, we're going to talk about that in a second, actually, because the question remains, why do this? Is it just to continue disenfranchising people and taking away what they have? Well, it does sure seem like it. The two gentlemen we just played you, they come from a group called Groundswell New Zealand, and they claim that the government is actually using climate change to take farmers' land. Here's a letter that one farmer received in July telling them that the state is going to take their land because it has use case interest for them, basically. They're going to, pay them what they think is commensurate. And they say that 1,500 such landowners have received letters like this. When addressing the United Nations recently, she said that online speech is a weapon and should be regulated like a weapon by all politicians. Listen.
After all, the face of war has changed. And with that, the weapons used. The tools used to challenge the statehood of others are hidden and more complex. Traditional combat, espionage, and the threat of nuclear weapons are now accompanied by cyber attacks, prolific disinformation, and manipulation of whole communities and societies. Now, as leaders, we have never treated the weapons of old in the same way as those that have emerged. And that's understandable. After all, a bullet takes a life. A bomb takes out a whole village. A lie online or from a podium does not. But what if that lie, told repeatedly and across many platforms, prompts, inspires, or motivates others to take up arms, to threaten the security of others, to turn a blind eye to atrocities, or worse, to become complicit in them? What then? This is no longer a hypothetical. The weapons of war have changed. They are upon us and require the same level of action and activity that we put into the weapons of old.
My daughter was homesick today, and I was listening to this on headphones while I was sitting next to her, and I was like, no, girl, no. After I heard that, my daughter's like, what are you watching? This is what I was watching.
And that's why on pandemic preparedness, we support efforts to develop a new global health legal instrument, strengthened international health regulations, and a strong and empowered World Health Organization.
Nope. No, I don't like any of those words.
So we need to make the World Health
Global legal mandates.
Yeah, this is what we've been talking about here on the show, guys. This is all part of this new world order, this unipolar world order. And when you hear that, when Vladimir Putin gets up and says, no, the only way forward is a multipolar order, sovereign states that care for their own people, right? Regardless of what you think about Putin, like that pisses them off, because this idea of a unipolar world government health organization that's going to supersede governments to tell them to lock down, to put their digital currency in the hands of this world. That's exactly what they want, guys. The World Health Organization wants to be able to have total control, and the United States went along with it. Canada went along with it. New Zealand's going along with it. Thank God Brazil and Africa, an African nation, stood up and said, no.
Do you know how North Korea became how it is today? When Kim Il-sung came, he made one promise to North Korean people. I'm going to feed you rice and meat stew each meal. And I'm going to get rid of all the inequality. If I do that, why don't you give me all your land and all your rights? We wanted no inequality, so we gave our land, our rights to this one guy. He took everything from us. So whenever in America I came, and people in Manhattan living in the best city in the world telling me passionately how America is so bad. So I asked them, so what is it so bad about America that you hate so much? And they say, you know what? We have inequality in this country. That's an amazing thing that you can rise to compared to other people. The enemy is of poverty, not inequality.
Hey guys, if you want to watch more clips, click here.
And if you want to watch the full podcast, click right here.